Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Andres Monroy. I'm a researcher in Fuse, and I have the pleasure to introduce Heli Bhatia. That's how you pronounce it? Yeah. She is currently a researcher at Tampere University in Finland. She's part of the Department of Pervasive Computing. Her current research interest is on crowdsourcing, mobile crowdsourcing. She has a very active background in HCI. She was formerly a researcher in Nokia Research. And so she's going to talk to us about hunters and snappers in action, mobile crowdsourcing for hyperlocal news. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we have been, for the past 4 years, we have been working in close connection with hyperlocal news producer in Finland, in metropolitan Helsinki area, which is a capital city. And what I'm presenting now is kind of an overview and parts of what we have done about in that research. And I've picked some things that might be interesting for a larger public generally from that. Okay, and all of the pictures that I have and the material in the sense of the kind of these kind of photos and stuff, these are from the actual site, online site, or the printed tabloid. So it's not my pictures. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to first talk about the context of our studies. Then I'm going to address why these readers that participate in newsmaking, why do they do it, some of the motivations. Then what influences the participation when we are using mobile crowdsourcing. So basically mobile tasks or assignments that are sent to them in one way or the other. And then depending on the discussion that we have ongoing, so looking at some of the how to motivate the participation and manage the quality of the content. Okay. So, context of our studies, as I mentioned, we have been doing these studies in close cooperation with the hyperlocal news publisher in Finland, in metropolitan area. So one of the well-known is what they publish now is Metro. So they have both online and print tabloid of Metro, which is Metro is you can access it at the railway stations or bus stations. So when you're commuting, you can read those. And then earlier they had this Vartti, which is quarter of an hour, which was a weekly tabloid, which was sent to the people's homes. You know, it was free of charge also. And they used kind of the material jointly in the sense that they shared the stories that were also in the weekly tabloids. They were online sites and so forth. Okay. And looking at the figures, what we are talking about is that in 2010, when we started these studies with this company, they had over 20,000 readers' photos coming in at that time. And these readers' photos were then already used as tip-off for the journalists to write news about. So they used the actual content and they used the photo that was coming in as a tip-off for the story. And then in 2012, the figure was already over 35,000 photos coming in. And then looking at how many contributors in 2012, we had the 35,000 photos coming in. So there were over 30,000 contributors sending this material, which means that most of these people send only one photo. You know, it's a long tail. And then you have these like 20 to 50 more active people who send daily or weekly photos in. And this is actually an example from the Fix My Street type of a photo that they have a specific section where you can send in reports on issues that need to be fixed in the environment. Then this was this dirty stuff around was with the photo and an explanation what was it about. All right, and then they published about 4,000 news items or news stories in 2012, and most of these were based on the readers' photos that were coming in. So, for example, here there was originally somebody sent in this photo of this bird, which was the only one left, in town of this specific species. And then there was a short text. It doesn't really show it well, but a short text with it that was like a sentence about a comment about that the reader who sent the material in commented about this. This is the last one or the only one in the city and stuff. And so what the journalists do, they have this incoming stream of photos. They pick up one of these photos that they find interesting. Then they go and work on that one and find more information, and then they write a story. All right. And how this all started up with was that they first had in 2004, they started with this news company, they started to get in readers' text messages. So they asked people to send in comments about life and everything in. And they published these text messages in the printed tabloid, which was the Metro, for example. Actually, it was at that time, it was called something else, but later on Metro. And they printed these on the actual thing. So they had almost 2 pages of these text messages that were funny stuff, And people were reading those on the metro or bus or something, and they were talking with each other, with their friends about it and laughing about it and stuff. So people got used to this kind of creating content for this company. And then they made a decision in the company in 2005 that, or the news publisher made a decision that there's going to be at least one reader's photo in every tabloid that's printed. And they had this reward that they paid for it, with like 2 movie tickets. And it was put on however bad quality there was a photo, but it was something funny or interesting or something. They printed it, and it was marked that it had gotten the prize. And then they also, started sending more pictures. And when people saw that this was happening and you could get something for it, they started to engage into the activity. And then, of course, when you go into online, was starting to come up also for news sites. So they had this online gallery for the incoming photos, so that everything that people sent in that was okay to be published online was published online, and you could see what the others were producing. And they had this opportunity for the people to comment on the photos also. So the comments when there's a funny picture or something, people start commenting on the topic and stuff. So there was this kind of interaction between the people online.
So you said that there's a review process to make sure that the photos were...
Yeah, so they basically go through, they come in as multimedia messages mainly, and then they are, the online journalist is looking through, and it's published if it's okay.
So it takes a few hours or days for the
No.
photos to approve?
No.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
So there's always somebody checking?
Somebody checks them, yeah. And during the nighttime when nobody's there, they don't publish new photos. Yeah. And then, then they, because this was, they were getting the text messages in, then they were getting the multimedia messages, and then they had the everything online. Then they also started to enable the online submission of content so that you could send in the material. For example, if you take photos with a better camera or something, you could send it online and it doesn't cost you as much as multimedia messages, because some people send like 10 photos a day, so it can be really costly. And then also they started to enable sending in reader stories and this kind of fix my street type of thing. And then going forward now is that it's kind of evolving into this kind of an online communities thing. But I have to say that it's a bit different than the normal online community, because it doesn't have the, it's not actually in a sense of community, it's more like it's content-based community. The content is in the center of the community, not the people in the sense. So that's a...
One question with the text messaging. When people send the text message, obviously you don't know the name, you know the phone number, but not the name.
Yeah.
How would the attribution work in that case? Like when they printed the text message, does it say from number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No, it doesn't say the number.
So
No. I think they have the how do you call it, the pseudonym for the person who they So they, you can say that I'm, for example, somebody. You just
you
make
sign
a...
it in the text itself, you say, something, and then John.
Yeah. Or then you don't have anything.
Right.
It's just a thing. Yeah.
And what you mentioned this is like a transition, an evolution. How many years passed from the text messaging to this?
This started in 2004.
Okay.
And then now we are in the Fix My Street started, I think, 2011 or 10. And so it's kind of evolving towards. And there has been also, more kind of stuff going on, but this is kind of the basic stuff that's there. All right. And so how it looks like how they encourage you to send in material is that this is from the online, but you basically have the kind of a similar thing in the print, is that you have this you have this specific number for sending in the multimedia messages and the photos and the text with that. And then this is kind of the how the gallery looks like when they come in, and then there's going to be more here. And then the other one is that you are enabled to do your own story. Here, when you click, you get to the site where you can send in photos and write a story or send a tip-off. So that's basically how it works.
So is there someone whose job it is to constantly be sort of reviewing for if the photos are appropriate?
Yeah, it's the online journalists who are doing it. Yeah. So basically they follow the incoming material. Most of the photos coming, as I said, as multimedia messages, so they come in as a stream. But then you can also send in material through the form, and then you can also send. You could send email, but I think they don't have it anymore because it's too much of a job to handle it all.
So what percentage would you say comes from the multimedia message? What percentage of the content would you say
Most of it.
Most of it,
Yeah, most of it.
Do you know if it's an approval or rejection process? So is it that they have to approve everything, or everything goes on a site and only if they spot something, a photo that's not appropriate, they reject it?
I think that they do the rejection only. So if it's if it's inappropriate, they just reject. But they don't. I don't think that they approve everything. It's more of a kind of a thing that if you spot something that's not okay, then you reject it, because otherwise it would be too much of a job to do. All right. Then here's an example of a reader story. What you can create online is that this is a typical example, I guess, with you have like 3 sections. It's quite short. This one doesn't have a photo, but it has a place where this happened. And then what you can see is that here you can see that there are 56 comments to the story. Then 141 people have shared it on Facebook. And then you have the discussion so you can comment on the story, and this is example of how it looks like.
So in this case, all the text was produced by a reader?
Yeah, this is a somebody. There's a kind of a not real name here, but yeah, it just says it's Tipsu, and where it is, it says it's a reader story and so forth.
What does the story say, just for...
Oh, okay. There was a bus driver who saved 2 kids from being run over. They were in the middle of the busy road, and he stopped the bus and put the lights on and took the kids by hand to the side of the road and stuff like that. So people are thanking the driver, and that's a happy story.
So all this text was typed on a mobile phone?
No, this is typed online.
Okay.
So people tend to write these stories afterwards online and not on the mobile phone. So what's easiest on the mobile phone is to take a photo and then send it with a short text, possibly, sometimes no text at all. And the text, in case of when you send it from mobile phone, it's quite short. It's like 1 sentence usually.
And then how do you link? So you send it via MMS, then you go home, you go on the computer, and then you say, by the way, that text message, that MMS that I sent, now here's the story, or like it's totally different process?
It's a totally different process.
Okay.
So basically, if you would want to write this type of, if you would have a photo of this, what you would do is that you would go online, and then of course you could also do it with a web browser of your phone if you would want to. But basically what people do is that they go home, they download the picture from their phone or camera and other camera, and then they write the story, put the photo in, and it's a complete thing done with one device. All right, which one is that one? Okay. All right, so what we have been doing is that these are the kind of the main things that we have been running, is that in 2010 we did interviews and a questionnaire with 9 reader reporters. The 10 is in the parentheses because one of the interviewees turned out to be 14, and we didn't have the parents' permission to have him there, so we couldn't use the data as such. And then in 2010 we also experimented with a mobile solution, a mobile app for sending the material, and with the location-based assignments, and we tried the first time the text messages as a way of doing the assignments or sending the assignments. Then in 2011 the news organization recruited from 90 most active readers who have sent in material to them. They recruited 60 active ones to participate to the study, so that we used the text messages as a way to deliver the as mobile assignments. And it was a 2-month trial, so it was June and August, because July in Finland is everybody is off to the countryside, so it was an off, but 2 months study. And then 2012 we had this, you used this ScoopShot crowdsourcing, mobile crowdsourcing platform, and then there were 104 participants recruited. They were from the online site, so that there was a banner for every 3rd visitor that said that participate in the study, and then 104 were recruited for this study. And so there were just anybody who was interested.
Is this website primarily for Finland?
Which one? The ScoopShot? No, it's international.
I see. So how will you will show the assignment to everyone in the world?
No. So ScoopShot was a mobile crowdsourcing platform. So it has a mobile app and an online solution for the newsrooms or whoever is using the platform. So it's a third-party application or platform. And then the news company had on their own site, they had the banner for their readers to participate. So it was from that one. So it would be now the Metro site.
So
But it was
running on the Metro brand, but it's the back end.
Yeah. So there were real readers who were in the targeted for the banners. And then we also looked at what kind of feedback mechanisms could be used to motivate people, or what would be motivating for them, and then also how to handle the quality or get better quality photos in.
I do have a question. It
Yep.
says 5 assignments with varying validity.
Yep.
What are you referring to with the varying validity?
So how long the assignment is valid for being able to submit?
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
It was like some of the stories were true and some weren't.
No. It's kind of the time that you are able to submit stuff.
So what are the examples? Can you say some examples of the assignments?
I'm actually coming to it later. Yeah. Okay. Then I explained some of this already, but let's go through the kind of the newsmaking process that this company is using with the readers, and kind of the one that's the main one, the current one, and then the trialed one. And here's also an example of a typical accident photo that is sent in. And here's an editor explaining how they see this process. So it's like a coffee filter when you get in these photos as a tip-off for the story. So you have this material coming in, and then you choose something and you kind of get it out. Okay, so how this works is that in the traditional process, before we had this intervention with the tasks, is that it starts with the reader reporter. They know that you can send in material to the site. They either spot something or they search for something, and they shoot a photo and send it to the company. And it may have some information and a geotag, for example, on the with the photo when they send it. Then the online journalist or the editor chooses from the incoming stream a photo that's interesting or newsworthy. They acquire and check information. They may call the reader reporter for more information. And they usually also, for example, in case of accidents, they call the police, or in case of something else, municipalities, or find somebody who knows something about the topic. Then they go and write the story and publish it first online and then in print, or some of them in print. And what you then have, you of course have the audience who consumes, comments, reads, shares. All right. And then finally, in this case, this company is using these monetary rewards for content that is published in print. So if you have a photo sent in, and the photo is used for how do you say it, for the print tabloid, then you get a reward for the photo. And then there's a process of getting the reward. All right. And here's an example. There was a photo in the gallery, 1027. The online journalist or editor spotted it. The first published story was 1035, which is 8 minutes after the material is sent in. And then you have the story, and it's updated at some point then. And then there are 22 comments to this one. It shows that this material, this is from online, so this material is from the reader, and then the story is below. And then you have the comments in the very bottom.
And the stories from the journalist.
Yeah, the journalist is writing this one. So you have this is a multimedia message that's coming in, and you pick it from the flow, and then you start to find out what's going on.
And so the journalists had to go to the location and check
No. No, they don't go to the location. They just call and find out the information, and then they write it at their desk.
Who do they call?
In this case, probably police,
The police,
and ask for information. Yeah, and they of course they have the basic facts: what happened, when, who was involved, or was there casualties, or was it just small, whatever. So they do the basic stuff. So they check the information, but it was 8 minutes when it was first online as a story. So it's very fast. They don't go there. They just check the facts and write it. But it's a journalist doing this. All right. So here's a comment about this kind of a process from one of the participants from our studies. And he explains that, well, it's like that kind of effortlessness, absolute anarchy and voluntarity. There are no expectations, so that I can just decide that this is what I offer. It's so easy, simple, straightforward. So it's very easy for the people to participate in this way and engage into the making of the news. So that's, I think, one of the things why it works. Okay, this is then what we have trialed in the various studies that we have, is that basically this is otherwise exactly the same, but it doesn't start with the reader reporter. It starts with a journalist or the editor who ideates and creates a story that they want to cover. They create the assignment and then send it to the people who are involved in the trial. And then whoever from the reader reporters wants to carry it out goes and carries it out. It can be anybody from these who are involved can go and do it. And then the online journalist again picks the one or the ones that are most suitable for the story and most illustrative and whatever. So it otherwise goes in the sense the same way, but it starts with the journalist thinking about this is the story that we want to make. And they can even do it so that they, when they create the mobile assignment, they may have a kind of storyline already there, and they just illustrate it with the reader's photos. So
how many people does the mobile assignment get sent out to?
sorry?
Right, you said, from how I understood it in the beginning, is that a mobile assignment was sent out to someone, but then here you said that it was sent out to, then is it sent out publicly and then anyone can upload photos for that story and then the best is chosen, or?
Well, in the trials that we have done with them, it's so that we have these specific people who have been recruited for the studies. So in 2010, for example, it was 60 people with the text messages, SMS. And then with the scoop shot trial, it was 104 people who were able to get the assignment, and then anybody could go and do it. Okay. And so it's basically anyone can take up the assignment, and there are several people who do that, or in the best case, if they are interested, there are several people.
So you send this notification to everyone, and then anyone can pick it up.
Yeah.
And then, do you know that they are working on it? Do they tell you?
No.
I see. So until you receive the content, you don't know how many people are working on it.
Yeah. In this, what we have trialed, of course, it would be ideal to know is somebody going to do it or not, if you really need the material. Right. So that's a.
Did you ever have the situation where nobody picked it up?
Yeah.
So with Scoop Shot, do people get paid for submitting content?
Yeah.
But not with SMS?
With both.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, it's exactly the same as the previous one. So if you your content that you have submitted to the assignment is chosen for the story and it's printed in the tabloid.
So only then you get.
Then you get the reward. But if it was published online, but not in print, you wouldn't get the reward. Okay, so basically the print is kind of the main thing. It has been so far. All right.
So I just wanted to follow up, because I know you mentioned that on Scoopshot there are microtasks where people get $1 to do certain things.
Yeah.
In this case, they wouldn't.
In this case, they would tell in the mobile assignment what is the reward. So it varied from 20 to 80 euros or something like that. So, yeah. But it can be only one who gets it. So yeah, so not everybody's getting it. Because you may, if you would have 1,000 and 10,000 people, you could get like 1,000 pictures in, so you couldn't pay yeah. But compared to what you usually get on Scoopshot, this is a high price, but it was high because of the fact that the company is paying for a printed photo at least worth of the 2 movie tickets, which was in the 2010, it was like 15 euros about, or 16. And I think the minimum that you now get, they don't give the movie tickets out anymore. It's in money. So I think the minimum is 20 euros, which is it $23 or something? 20, yeah, something like that. And if you get your photo on the front page, I think it's usually could be 100 euros for the front page photo on print. All right. So that's now clear.
Do you know if, while they send these photos, they get posted online and then one gets chosen for print?
Mm-hmm.
So do you know if people check the online site to see what others are posting while they're doing this assignment?
Well, actually, in this with these assignments, one of the things that we found was that it was not possible to post them online. So it was kind of a separate process from what they do usually. So they were not online, so you could not check. But the people would like to check what the others are posting. So they would like to see what the others post. Because it also, it's interesting, and it also gives you ideas that, okay, nobody has gotten this idea for the photo, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
high stake. You get the best photo, you might want to see what others are posting.
But actually, I think with Scoopshot, if you would use it as a normal, how they do it as a third-party platform for their customers, I think you are able to nowadays see the content that's coming in. If it's integrated into your site, and then you just the ones that are being picked for the kind of the payment or rewarded for. So those are just marked differently. But you can check it online because it's an English site. So.
And you have to install an app.
For the mobile phone, yeah. So they have for the iPhone and Android. I think they might have it also for Windows. I haven't checked lately. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's kind of the difference. So what we were bringing in was this kind of a different process on the side. So starting with the journalists, and our role as researchers was just to look from the distance what's happening. So we didn't get involved into making of the topics or anything. We just studied the readers, how they found it, which was for us really nice because it lets you concentrate on the actual experience of the people. You don't have to think that you have made the topics and stuff like that. All right, so this is an example of what you get in from when you have the tasks. So these have been the ones that have been getting the reward, so they have been printed. So this was on dog parks, one of the assignments from the studies. Not very fancy pictures, but yeah.
And what was this assignment?
It was something like the best dog park in the city or whatever. Yeah.
And the text was sent along with the form?
Yeah. yeah, they also asked for give a reason for why it's nice. Yeah. All right. Okay. So then, looking at the participation styles and activity of the participants. We have these snappers who are randomly acting. They shoot a photo whenever they come across something interesting. They don't plan. It's just that it happens, and they snap a photo. And here's an example from there was a taxi which was on fire, and somebody was passing by in a car or bus or whatever, and they took a photo and sent it in. So it's a typical thing. And these are the kind of the things that you get. People just come across something, and this is an online gallery of parts of a couple of days ago. What you get. So just anything. It can be science, it can be something about the nature, it can be a fire, anything. All right, then we have the hunters. These are people who are the really active ones usually, or they are experienced in doing this kind of thing. And they are intentional, and they actively seek for the topics to shoot photos of and send in as tips for news. And for example, this photo is one of the ladies that we interviewed. She's over 70, and she goes every day and walks in the city, and she seeks for things to send in as material. She wants to share what she sees, but she also wants to have extra income on top of her pension. So she really seeks for some reward from this. And also she says in the interview that it makes her, because she wants to exercise, doing this on the side of the exercise is makes it meaningful to do the exercise, so that she goes to different places, different days, and sees what's happening, and that's the way she does it.
Do you find that anyone takes photos with a really nice camera so that they're more likely to win the reward rather than a cell phone camera?
Actually, in these hunters, you have people who use either kind of these zoom cameras where you have a better lens or something, and they usually, because they may send in also this kind of material which is not so time critical as an accident is, to send in directly from the mobile phone. So they take these photos with their own cameras and then they send it online. But it depends on whether they come across something which needs really fast sending, or whether it's this kind of a photo where something is happening but can be delayed in the sense of sending. And this is actually from one of the days that she was strolling around the city. So all these which have the red around them, these are from her. This is only part of what she sent or captured that day. So she was doing some stuff, seeing some stuff on the streets. It was a funny comment also included in that one. And then she was looking at the construction sites, and then she was looking at, there was something in the nature. There was a kind of a tree there was something coming out of it, and it had frozen. And then something about the kind of a street view. So I think she had about 10 to 15 photos from one day that she uploaded to the site.
Is this like a profile page for that person?
No, this is an online gallery. This so it's all of the stuff that's coming in.
So the readers don't necessarily know that this comes from the same person?
No, they don't know from what you see here. You only see the photo and the time and the day, or the day that's coming. And then if you click on the photo, if the person has shared the name, then you can see that. But otherwise, you don't know. And that's one of the things that might be something to kind of also when you go forward with the development of the site, that you could actually look for somebody, for example, click this and find all the pictures by the person or something like that. Because that'd be really interesting, but I think there might be some problems because people don't share their information, many people. So.
You mentioned that she's looking for income out of that one?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, maybe you said it. What's the model of revenue that she gets from that one?
Okay, so basically how it works is that for a photo that's chosen for a story and it's printed in a print tabloid, you get paid for. And it's about from 20 euros to 100 euros, depending on what page it is, and which is like $23 to $100 and something dollars. Yeah. So if your photo is chosen for print, then you get a reward. Okay, so then looking at this is from 2011 study where we had the 60 active readers involved. So we asked them, we described whether you go and snap a photo when you see something interesting, or do you plan, or do you do both? So people, 97% said that they snap a photo if they see something interesting, and about 36% hunt. So they look for topics. And of course, this is now the most active ones participating in the study. But if you would go for the long tail, you would have lots of more snappers so that they just send in, one photo a year or half a year or something like that.
You said that in the study you had specific assignments.
Yeah.
And so presumably when you have an assignment, you're a hunter, you're seeking.
Yeah, but this is we asked them the general before the study. We asked how do you without the assignments, how do you act? Yeah. So basically, of course, if you have the assignment, you hunt.
Right.
Yeah. But this is the kind of normal profile, how they, without the assignments, how they work. All right. Then looking at the kind of the activity, these are the 60 most, or the readers who sent material in. This is also from 2011 from the text message study. So this is, we asked them before the trial, how often do you send in material? And so over half of these people that answered to the questionnaire that we sent, they sent at least weekly material. But there was only one who sent daily, and there were 7 who sent at least 4 times a week. So it's like you can already here see that there are very few of those who are very, very active.
Never, I mean, the
okay.
class size.
Okay, so basically here we asked for 3 things. So we asked for the company that we studied. This is I think it seems like gray, probably it was blue. And then do you send to other media, like the broadcasting companies or anything else? And then Scoopshot was the one that we studied then the next year. It was a mobile crowdsourcing platform that we studied next year. But we asked already then that have you sent to that one? And the never means that you have never, have you ever sent to these other media or Scoopshot? And then we also wanted to see if they, say it for this company also, because we would have a wrong profile in the sense that we would think that they had sent. But this is for the other companies. So all of these who answered this questionnaire were part of, they sent monthly or less frequently, or then more often than weekly. And looking at the kind of the length of the participation they had as a profile, so it was mainly they were 1 to 5 years involved in this kind of a reader participation. But there were kind of 2 outliers in the data. There was one was 21 years had cooperated with different companies, not this one, but with different companies at some point. And then the other one was 23 years. So they had a kind of a long history of being involved in cooperation with the news companies. And then why do readers participate? What are their motivations? This is one of the stories that was made in print. It was basically based on completely on the photos. It was about your favorite places in the city to see or something like that. All right. Then looking at the motivations, based on what we had learned previously in our studies, we made this kind of categories for asking that choose which motivations are the ones that motivate you in this case to send. And this is the general, this is not the task-based motivations. These are the general motivations to send material in to the news company. And so basically from these predefined categories, they expressed fun. It's fun to participate. Opportunity to get a reward if your photo is chosen was one of the main motivations, and then informing others of issues in the happenings in the town was the third most often mentioned. There was no difference between the genders in this, basically. But then where the difference was that for the opportunity for extra income, the men reported more often that as a motivation.
What's the difference between opportunity to get a reward and opportunity for extra income?
Extra income means that it's actually income on top of their normal income. And opportunity to get a reward is that it's nice to get a reward if your photo happens to be chosen.
So we mean acknowledgement? You mean acknowledgement?
Yeah, it's kind of an acknowledgement that you have sent in good material, and it's nice to get the reward, but they don't depend on it as an income.
Talking about the same thing as like the 20 euros if their photo makes it onto the page. Mm-hmm. Is that what a reward refers to, or is there like?
Yeah, it's for some people, it's nice to get it. For some people, it's really that they depend on it as an extra income.
What about the enjoys participation to activity versus fun? Isn't that the same?
I have shortened it a bit. Okay. So basically enjoys participating to the newsmaking activity. But basically the fun is more like they enjoy the actual kind of carrying out the activity by themselves and taking the photo. So it's a kind of a difference in the sense of being part of the newsmaking, or that it's just fun to go and take a photo and send it in. So they see it in a different way, in a sense. So whether they are part of the activity as real contributors, or whether it's just fun to do it. All right. Then about the participation style, so the hunters and the snappers, and this has been divided so that those who reported only snapping photos or shooting photos when they come across something interesting, and so we chose those as one group, and then another group was those that said that they hunted for topics. So we separated this because some of the hunters were also reporting that they shot photos whenever something interesting came across. But we separated them to see a difference between the groups. And basically with the main motivations, there's no difference, but then again, the opportunity for extra income and improving as a photographer is more often reported for the hunters as a motivation than for the those who just snap a photo when something interesting comes along. All right. Okay, so here are some quotes from the participants of our studies. Some of them reported this bringing out important issues in the interviews as the motivation, and then it was combined with getting the reward. It's nice. So, for example, this one is I can bring out to the public some issues, since I like to shoot photos of topical and interesting issues. That is the best thing, but I also like movies and referring to the movie tickets. So that is all right also. So they may have this combination of motivations to participate. So the reward, it's still important even though they may have another motivation. So it keeps them going in the sense and go, producing again and again and again.
So I see the demographics that these are people that are older than one would expect for this.
Well,
kind of
actually, I
activity.
realized that I have quotes from younger ones. So the youngest is 15. So it's actually kind of almost flat. But it just happened that the kind of the best quotes now happen to be these, or the shortest in the sense of explaining the motivations. I just picked a couple. So basically, you can see later the demographics from this. This is from the text message study. So basically, the kind of the group, it's quite even.
Surprising.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was also surprised because I was thinking that it would be older people only. All right. Then there's another one. This one comments about the participation to newsmaking and usefulness of the contribution as motivation. So it is participating to the newsmaking, to the making of the news tabloid, and it is nice to read the comments by others. Then, of course, that you have accomplished something that is useful. So somebody's using what you produce. Okay, then it's a bit dark. So next to what influences participation when using tasks. Okay, there's a kind of a complicated picture, but basically what it says is that it's when you think about the factors that contribute to experience of participation, and the actual participation and the activity in the participation. So basically, the characteristics of the reader reporter, characteristics of the system, and characteristics of the context of use influence the both experiences and the participation activity, how active people are and whether they will produce or not. And within the context of use, as one dimension of context of use, you have the task. So basically the tasks that you create, they have different characteristics.
Who defines the task? I'm sorry. Who defines the task?
In our studies, the tasks were defined by the newsroom, the editors or the journalists. And but of course, in different cases, you have different. Yeah. But in our case, it was the newsroom who was doing this, so we didn't touch them at all. And so basically, what we found was that when we looked at the different studies that we have done, the reader's age, the gender, the expectations for the cooperation, their motivations to participate, whether they want to make money out of it or is it just fun activity for them or similar, the skills that they have, whether they are experts already, maybe they are they have been journalists at some point of their life or worked in the media business or whatever. And then the hobbyist background, especially in our case of photography. So these seem to be those characteristics that influence. Then about the system, we also have found that depending on what you use as the technology, as the means to send or deliver the assignments, it makes a difference to the experience. So this is connected actually to age, for example. For example, we have used the text messages, which is really simple as a way to deliver assignments. But then Scoopshot, for example, as a mobile crowdsourcing platform where you install an app, it's a different thing. So different people find different types of solutions suitable for them for getting the assignments. Then of course, the multimedia features of the phones. Those that are more experienced with the photography, they are not so happy with the quality of the photos, and they want to use something else. For photographing, then we have looked at the using of the geolocation. For example, what's the way of geolocating people if you want to deliver location-based assignments. Then feedback mechanisms, that you would also need to have mechanisms to get feedback through the mobile phone if you're using it as a way to get the assignments and then send the material. And then also connectivity to other systems and services. So kind of this ecosystem where you are in, because nowadays everything is connected, social media and stuff. So how does this connect those aspects? Then context of use, of course, you have the physical context, which is the actual, we have looked at when do people want to receive assignments. So is it dependent on whether they are at home or at work or wherever they are? But in the physical space, and how close they are to the place where they should carry out the assignment. So that also is one of the things that affects whether they would like to participate or not. Then the temporal stuff, whether it's a weekend, whether it's a morning, whether it's an afternoon, these kind of things affect whether they are willing to take a task. But it depends on the person, of course, their lifestyle, what's okay for them. Then the task, let's go to the task later. Then the social, it's whether you are, willing to carry out the task when you are in company of somebody else, or whether when you are passing time, for example, waiting for somebody or waiting for the bus or whatever, and when you are alone. And then the technology and information context, otherwise related to then the actual system that we are using. So connectivity to internet, whether you have Wi-Fi or whatever available for sending, or do you have to send it as a multimedia message, and so forth.
So all these questions that you ask in a survey?
Well, we haven't asked it all of it in a survey. Some of it's coming from the interviews that we have made. Some of it's from the questionnaires, and so this is kind of an overview of what we have found. Okay. So it's not one study or one questionnaire, it's kind of a put together. And then about the tasks, of course, the topic is one of the things that affects whether you would like to participate or not, whether it's interesting for you. The information that you give in the task, how clear and accurate it is, how clearly it says that you have to do specifically this thing there and then, or whether you are given, whether it says that you are given freedom and you can use your own imagination in carrying out this or whatever. So you have to say that people know what you expect, so that they don't do the wrong thing and they don't get the reward because they didn't understand what you are asking. And then what kind of incentives and other motivation mechanisms you use, for example, social feedback. Then the selection of the tasks that you have available, whether you have only one task or whether you have several to choose from. So people would like to have several to choose from because it would give them more freedom to do what they are interested in. Then how frequently you send the tasks, it seems to also have influence. So basically, for example, in our case, the tasks were sent weekly in all of the studies that were carried out with the news company and their readers. And it's you only had one task per week. So it's the participants found it to be too not enough. So it may also influence whether people stay kind of engaged into the activity. And then the validity is again referring to how long it's possible to send something in. So is it half a day, and when does it end that you have to submit? Location, it's related to, of course, whether the assignment is somewhere close to you or whether it's further away. And then there's lots of other stuff related to the tasks. And
if you were to pick only 3 things that you think are the most important
in tasks,
all over, like, what will you focus the most if you were to do this for like another newspaper? What will you put most attention to? Like, focus on, younger people who have apps, or the topic is interesting, whatever.
I probably would. It depends on what is the audience. So what kind of content you want to give to the audience, because the audience is the one that defines what is interesting. And through that, and who you want to be the audience. And through that, I would look at the topic, and then through that, I would look at whether the technology and the kind of the demographics of the people that I want to contribute to this specific topic are right. So they are kind of interconnected in the sense they are not separate. Right. So you kind of have to think about the whole thing. So, for example, in our case, we found that when we interviewed people in 2011, these who were the active submitters, very few of them had smartphones. So they wouldn't have been able to have an app on their phone. Many of them were considering getting one because they were getting cheaper and cheaper at the time. But they still, at that point, didn't have that. And if you think about the demographics, for example, we have from 15 to, was it 75? They are very different in the sense of their technology use and stuff. So you have to think how to get involved the people that we want. Yeah, so there's no clear answer, actually. But this is the best that I can give. Yeah. So, or do you have any thought yourself about it?
No, I'm actually just, not sure what, like, for the kinds of things that we're doing, we're kind of relying on a particular platform.
Yeah.
Where there's certain demographics there, but in some ways the reporter is already defined by the constraints of that platform.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Usually that's the way it goes, yeah. Well, text messages, of course, almost everybody is able to use that. But when you have, for example, a mobile crowdsourcing platform, only the people who have the phones that can have it and who are able to download the app and so forth. So it kind of puts the constraints on. Yeah. All right. So what we found was that when you think about how people perceive these tasks, we found that they were expressing that the task significance is one of the issues that they consider when they decide whether they will do the task or not. So whether it has impact on something that they see kind of valuable to do work for. And then another one is that how relevant the task is for the people who are participating. So that's related to the background and demographics, of course, and the motivations, so the user. And then the task, how engaging and enjoyable the task, carrying out the task is. So how fun, motivating, interesting, playful, and are there some kind of competitive aspects that the person finds in this kind of activity? So those affect how they perceive the tasks and how active they will be in the this type of participation. And then they also consider this needed effort and the benefit that they expect from what they do. So whether it's a personal benefit, so you get, for example, the money out of it, whether it's informing others or having a possibility to influence the environment, for example, and how the city is looking and how comfortable and nice it is to live in. So these kind of things are kind of, they look at the kind of the balance. And also they kind of calculate what's the chance that I will get the reward. Okay. Then we also found that creating the topic for the assignment, there's a kind of a balance that you need to take into account. That you have these hyperlocal news criteria and the benefit for the newsmaking and the audience. And then on the other hand, you have the task-related issues that you would engage the people into the activity. So basically, if you think about the hyperlocal news criteria, so these are basically traditional news criteria that are used. It's timely, it has impact on many people, and so forth. And then on the other hand, because these publications are different, whether this is somehow interesting and unique content that you get with the assignment for that specific newspaper in question. And that also the newsroom is also considering that that the topics that they create could be something that they have a hard time accessing themselves. So they would get content that they cannot go and do the story themselves, so or take the photos themselves, but the readers have more closer access to, and it's easier for doing this in cooperation with them to get the content. And then thinking about the task-related issues, so the newsroom, the editors were describing that they these tasks, that when they created them, they tried to find topics that were easily accomplishable and accessible to the readers, but still would require them some effort so that they just couldn't go around the corner and you know, take a photo of the next car, you know, on the parking lot or something. That they would need to do some processing also when doing the stuff. and that the topics would be somehow, the editors were trying to find topics that would be inspiring for the reader reporters, and on the other hand would be timely in the sense that it's motivating also by that to carry out the reporting. And the editors also had a kind of an idea that these reader reporters, they really are willing to put themselves out to get good photos if the topic is interesting. So sending it out, put out. Maybe that's wrong. So they are willing to put themselves into, willing to do put effort into carrying out the assignments. So if the topic is interesting, you are willing to do that and use much effort.
Is there a model that it's not task-based? So I saw an interesting thing. I took a snapshot and then they decided to use my picture.
Yeah.
So there's also this mode that it's not task-oriented.
Yeah, that's the main model.
That's the main model.
Yeah,
so
that's the main model.
Randomly.
Yeah, randomly acting.
And is it this organization, this news organization, is it only one news organization can use their content, or there are multiple news organizations now can leverage that content?
In this case, this is one news organization who is cooperating with their readers, and they want to hold on to their readers in the sense because they are an asset.
So who owns really the picture?
Well, if you basically, I think nowadays it's so that if you send it in as a multimedia message, you already give the rights to the company. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the latest kind of. And then with ScoopShot, which is the mobile crowdsourcing platform, with that one, I think it's like after 3 days, if nobody buys your photo, you get the rights back. At least that was at some point, but I haven't checked the latest because these always evolved, and it may also depend if it's used by some certain company, a big organization, news organization, it might that they have their own rules. So it might depend on also the kind of who is the actual user of the data that you send in. So, but basically it depends on how the organization defines. But in this case that we have been studying, it's basically if you send in the photo, the rights are turned in, I think. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then looking at the ScoopShot study that we have done. So ScoopShot was a mobile crowdsourcing platform that was trialed. I wanted to take this as an example of our studies specifically as one of the cases because this is showing something that you might want to do better. Okay, so the setup of the study was that this hyperlocal news publisher that we are collaborating with, they trialed this third-party platform, crowdsourcing platform, ScoopShot. And again, the newsroom was doing the assignments, and we were just following up. And it was a five-week trial with one assignment per week. And there was an online questionnaire after the trial. And then we also had 5 interviews. And this is the kind of what it looks like, or looked like at that time on the phone, the application. So this is the main view when you open the application, have downloaded it. Then it has the tasks. It has also in different parts of the world tasks. It can also have location-based tasks, so you can search for the tasks that are closest to you. Or then they are general tasks anywhere in the world or anywhere in Finland or whatever, how they are defined. And then this is one of the tasks that was sent in. This is actually the dog park assignment. So it says that here there's time left 24 hours until it ends. Then it asks, where is the best dog park in the city? Remember to, sorry, I have to translate this. So remember to state where this dog park is located, and then why pets and their owners like the park, or what is wanted as a to make it better.
Anyway, we have 10 minutes for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, call, but thank you.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
like to send her a question or two.
Okay. Good. And then, okay, the assignments. There was this editorial staff that was responsible for planning the assignments, sending them through the online portal from Scoopshot, then selecting the content that's purchased for the stories, and then publishing the content online and in the printed weekly news tabloid. And how long these were valid for being carried out as assignments, it was 12 hours to 1 week. And the assignment topics in this study were need for cleaning the environment. Then there were ships that go from Helsinki to Tallinn, which is in Estonia. It was location-dependent task. Then need for noise barriers in the environment, where you somewhere close by. And then the best dog park in the city, and then the kind of fix my street type of thing, potholes in the road. On the road or in the road. It was during springtime that we ran this study. And now here you can see the difference between the demographics of the participants in this study and the previous, where we used the text messages. So the green bars are for the Scoopshot study, where we have the mobile crowdsourcing platform, and you have to install the app on the phone. And then these blue ones are the ones that are the basic active reporters that were recruited for the study, so the kind of the 60 active ones. So it's quite even with the ages in the where you use the text messages, but when you have the Scoopshot, there's a clear difference in the who is participating. But the point is that we had 104 participants and only 17 answered the questionnaire, so we don't know who the rest are. We had no access to them. And also there was a difference in the gender. So in the Scoopshot study with the mobile crowdsourcing platform, the participants were male. There was only one female. But these are the questionnaire respondents. We don't know the rest. And then, okay, these were active in photography. Over half of them photographed daily in Scoopshot study, and the rest of them reported weekly, but they had not sent material prior to this study to this company. Only one, I think, had submitted content actively to this media. But they had used the Scoopshot. Most of them had used the Scoopshot crowdsourcing trial for other crowdsourcing stuff. So they were familiar with the platform. All right. So looking at the activity in the trial. Okay. So here we see the views. This is 5 weeks and 5 assignments. So 104 is the one that's the whole number of the people. For the first assignment, 87 viewed the assignment, and then it dropped. And looking at how many submitters there were, for the first, you had 9 submitters. For the rest, it was 2 or 3. And then looking at how many photos were created for the assignments. For the first one, for the cleaning of the environment, it was 15. For the second one, it was Tallinn ships. It was 27, but I think 25 were from one person. And then for the rest it dropped. And then comparing, there was also this group that had been participating last year or the previous year for the text message trial. They were also involved that year that we studied the scoop shot, and they were sent exactly the same assignment with the text message. And basically when these photos were chosen for the news tabloid to be printed, so basically there was lots of activity in this text message group, which were the active, prior active readers. But then there was the only one that was chosen from the scoop shot trial. So the activity was much lower in this group that we studied with scoop shot. Okay, so why is that? Okay, then we, when we did the questionnaire, we looked at whether they found it positively or negatively the whole trial, because they were not active. Well, they found it nice. They found it positively, but they didn't submit. Okay, so what's the reason? Basically, then we asked those that had submitted to from prior defined categories the reasons for submitting. The assignments interested me was the most often reported, so it was 70% if you look at the percents, 7 from 10. Then searching for a suitable subject to photograph, it's nice. And then they wanted to earn some money, and then the rest. And then looking at those who did not submit during the whole trial anything. They said that they didn't find a suitable topic to photograph, or they were not near a suitable location. And then we looked at, we asked them how they found the topics of the assignments. And we looked at the different age groups. So we divided the groups to two parts. So it was 15 to 25 years and 26 to 53 years. And we found that the older group, the 26 or older, they found the topics communal and useful, but the younger ones didn't. They found them boring and demotivating. So maybe that was the reason. So just shortly some experiences. Okay, so people liked it. This felt like a sensible activity, more of this. So it was liked. And then a 19-year-old girl, more tasks concerning the young. We are the future, eh? So the topics just didn't touch them. It wasn't the right topics for the group that was participating. And then looking at the engagingness and enjoyment, as described by one of the participants, always when I notice or the phone notifies when there's an assignment, I check it. I find it fun. It makes you feel kind of important. Your own contribution really is somehow useful. To me, it gives pleasure. It's like playful, that you wait for an assignment to carry out, and it feels really good. So he was participating. And then there's about the reward. This person has as a kind of, he likes to impact the environment and issues in the environment. It's the main motivation for him to participate. I think I got 50 euros from it. It's not that. I got more satisfaction of the mess being cleaned up.
The room might be used afterwards, so we might have to stop. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, wrapping up. Yeah. All right. So basically, the perceived task significance, task relevancy, and task engagingness can contribute to participation and enjoyment. The audience, use of the generated content for creation of news, and the comments and sharing by the audience make the activity meaningful. So it has to be meaningful for people to participate. And then the characteristics of the reader-reporter system and the context of use can contribute to both experience and the participation. And money, in this case, is one of the motivators or motives to participate, and it's also one of the initial triggers for people to participate. I didn't touch it, but it's in our data. And there's usually one or more than one motive to participate, so people have several motives. So it's 2 to 3 main motives. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. We unfortunately don't have much time, but she'll be around for a little bit, so if you have any questions.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.